Friends, in this video for I Thought Wealth, I am going to talk to you on the topic, are Indian banks ready for growth? For a very long time, Indian banks were in the ICU. The public banks had a lot of bad debts. They were in no position to increase their loan books. They were always worried about how to collect what they had already lent. Many people wondered whether Indian banks, especially the public ones, would simply sink. This had gone to such an extent that people even made sensational comments that you should not keep your money in a bank. It went to such absurd levels. But one thing is clear. In the history of Indian banking, we have never let down a depositor. No deposit has gone unpaid by an Indian bank, especially after 1991. The losses happened at the hands of equity investors when a bank failed. The bank got merged with another bank or other banks came together to give fresh equity, but depositors were always kept safe. Their commitments and obligations to depositors were always honored. This is the story of Indian banking, especially public sector banking. Being ready for growth means that you have enough capital and you have lower cost of capital in the form of deposits, and your books are reasonably clean, so you don't have the risk of suddenly being hit by rising GNPAs as you increase your credit or you grow your credit books. So, the best time to grow your credit books is when the economy supports growth and when your books are clean. I believe that the last 4 years have definitely cleaned up the Indian banking system like never before. We have seen banks getting adequately recapitalized. We have seen the weaker banks being attended to. You had the different initiatives by RBI which put weaker banks in a tight spot, made them become better, and again prepared them to return to growth. This phase is coming to an end, and today most Indian banks, especially the public banks, are adequately capitalized. The risk of NPAs rising now is gradually receding. This is contrary to what most observers have been pointing out. In fact, we have had this constant alarm being raised that coming quarters NPAs will spike again. But we have seen the last few quarters dispel those fears quite convincingly, and banks are today well placed in a position to enjoy the benefits of faster credit growth. They can grow credit faster and in a more efficient way than they have done ever before. That public banks are ready to do this speaks very well for our economy's future. It means that entrepreneurs, people who want to put borrowed capital to very efficient use in a timely manner, are going to get the money they need for growth. Remember that in a country like India, debt is growth capital for many entrepreneurs, especially the smaller and medium sized entrepreneurs. It's only those with very large profit pools who can manage with fully equity dependent capital. And when interest rates are reasonably moderate and banks are in a position to lend much more money, and corporate balance sheets are also in a position to take on borrowings, and the economy is also going to return to a higher trajectory of growth after 2 very difficult years, all these are going to come together in a very nice way. When all good things conspire and lead to growth, credit cycles can revive. I believe that we are heading towards one such phase in our country. While it's good to be cautious if the phase is going to gain momentum soon or it's going to take time, the fact remains that we are heading towards a very positive cycle from here. There will be hiccups, there could be slow parts in this journey, but the journey has begun and it will lead us to a better place. This means that investing in banks is once again going to come back in favor and institutions are going to once again load up on banks. What I am saying just now runs contrary to what we have seen in the last few months, but I believe that the change will happen very fast as the results of the next 2 quarters give more confidence to investors. The markets are just waiting for that final nudge which will give them confidence to act aggressively. This is something nobody would have believed 2 years ago when we had more doomsday predictions than ever before on Indian public banks, on Indian banks in general. Smaller banks were seen to be too weak to survive what we saw as an economic crisis arising from COVID. Larger banks themselves and the more established ones like Kotak were very conservative and took an extremely cautious stance, which made observers and watchers of the banking industry believe that things could get very bad from here. But they have also decided to change track, to become more aggressive and once again start lending with their usual confidence. Effectively, we are seeing everybody preparing for credit growth and we are going to see that the entire banking industry, public and private, are in a far more ready state to lend better, lend faster, grow credit books in a way which will not lead them back into trouble very fast, and to enjoy the benefits of economic growth and virtuous positive credit cycles for a very long time to come. This is something I have not seen in a very long time, and I believe that when you see this, this is going to last for quite some time. Thank you for watching this video.